You're listening to New England Real Estate Journal Radio with Rick Kaplan, New England source for commercial real estate news. This is New England Real Estate Journal Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
Welcome to the New England Real Estate Journal Radio Show. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson. And you know, Eric, we have a great show today. I haven't said that in a while,
You haven't.
I had to do it. We have Paul Cincotta. He's the vice president with New England Development, and he's going to be talking about this new university station in Westwood, where they have this enormous development they're putting together right across from the Amtrak station, where they're going to have a Wegmans and Target and Neiman Marcus and an apartment complex and assisted living. They're going to have a whole work, live, and play type of setup there.
Yeah,
and
I'm
right
excited
off the
to
highway.
find out about that because we take that train out a lot when we go to New York. So and then we always see just almost deserted other than the MBTA track. So I'm
Well,
excited
you
to
got
hear-
that whole industrial park down there too.
Right, but I mean, when you get off the highway, you only go so far as the MBTA, and then you look down University Ave, and you see a lot of trees. So I'm excited to see what they've done.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how they anticipate the whole infrastructure in that area, how it's going to be set up.
And I know late spring they're putting in a residential component with all the apartment units. I'd like to see maybe we'll grab either the I think it's Gables Residential. Maybe we'll know. I wonder what the prices are going to be for that right on that conjunction of the two highways.
Well, it's I think it's apartments.
So I mean,
Yeah.
what is it,
Oh, what
condos?
the? No, I don't think it's condos.
No, that's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
was just wondering what the rent would be like,
Yeah.
as opposed to something, say, Braintree or
Or in
Quincy like.
Boston.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be
yeah.
cool.
That's a good question. We'll find that out. But we have our events that are coming up. I want to mention some of those.
Yeah.
The Our Cocktails and Conversation in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. That is going to be April 29th. It's 5:30 to 9. You have to go to it, of course.
Yeah, right. Well, Rick will be at your door.
Yeah. We have the HELP Conference on April 13th and April 14th at the Seaport Waterfront Hotel. That's another event you have to go to. Jim O'Connell, he puts
Yeah.
on a fantastic
If you're in the
event
hotel
there.
industry, you definitely want to check that out. And be
Or
there.
you want to deal with the hotel
Right.
industry.
Mhm.
Also, we have on June 4th the Connecticut Business Expo put on by the Hartford Business Journal. Now, we're going to be at all of these events doing our show as well.
Right. Well, that's why I figured they took the lead
Right.
because we'll be at them, so you guys get to meet us, your favorite radio show hosts.
June 17th at the Boston Convention Center, NEBFM,
Yeah.
2015.
Also,
Did I say it was done?
no, I just want to throw out for all of our listeners, check your 320 edition newspaper that comes out. It came out this past Friday for your free admission to the MedEd conference.
Yeah, I was
on,
just going to mention the MedEd.
April 7th and 8th.
Yeah, the MedEd Facilities Expo and Conference. That is April 7th and 8th, and that is at the Seaport Hotel.
And that's the second annual. It was the inaugural last year. It's put on by the same guys that do the Build Boston, or I believe I think it's still called Build Boston.
Now, I also have the Association of Energy Engineers of New England. They present its 5th annual Energy Products and Services Show Wednesday, April 8th, and that is at the Embassy Suites Hotel in Waltham. Another good event.
Also,
And
don't forget that former guests we had, Courtney Majewski of Nawick.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was just
Pinestrada.
gonna-
You going to do that?
I
Oh,
was
then
just
shout it
gonna-
out, Rick. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be part of the show.
yeah, I know. I'm just going to get them all out right now. At March 26th, the Boston Bowl in Dorchester at 5:30. You register 6 to 8, and that is for the NAWIC, National Association of Women in Construction,
Boston chapter.
the Boston
And it's-
chapter.
I believe it's for their scholarship drive.
Yes, it is a scholarship.
So
drive.
that's a good thing.
The
Come
10th
on out.
annual.
Yeah, come on out and join us, and we'll be there showing off our 300s.
I also like to thank our sponsors for the show: CompStack, Video Doorman, the City of Hartford, Connecticut, the City of Marlborough, Mass., City of Rochester, New Hampshire, City of all the cities. What other
right.
cities? We got so many cities that sponsor the show.
Hartford, Warwick,
And Hartford and Warwick,
Rochester, New Hampshire. Marlboro.
And Marlboro. And I want to thank all of them. And we'll be right back with Paul.
Before you go, I just want to say we're going to touch in the closing. We're going to talk about last week's IRM event when I got hypnotized.
Oh, okay.
I want to close the show with
All
that.
right, that should be interesting.
It should be fun.
And we also want to talk about, it was my birthday on March 17th, and it was Eric's birthday on March 16th.
Right, we both just had our birthdays this week, so that's why it's been a big week.
Yeah,
and,
so we had a lot of fun things that we did. We'll
did.
talk about that at the end of the show. But when we come back, we're going to talk with Paul Cincotta, the Vice President with New England Development, and he's going to be talking about the University Station in Westwood, Mass. And we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
The next level in commercial real estate. This is New England Real Estate Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
Commercial real estate can be a risky endeavor if you don't have all the information you need to make an educated decision. Why spend time digging for data when CompStack provides investors, lenders, and landlords accurate lease comps for office, industrial, and retail properties, starting rents, concessions, and more in just a few clicks? The world's largest investors and lenders use CompStack to benchmark their properties and underwrite their deals. Shouldn't you? CompStack. Better data, better deals. Visit getleasecomps.com today.
Rick Kaplan on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson. And we have on the phone with us is Paul Cincotta. He's the Vice President with New England Development. And we're going to talk with Paul a little bit about this new project that is going on in Westwood, Mass. It's a University Station. Good afternoon, Paul.
Good afternoon, Rick and Eric. Good to be on.
So this is an enormous project. It's taking up how big an area is this taking up?
It certainly is. It's in area. It's about 125 acre development. It's a mixed use development. I could talk about the mix of uses if that's an appropriate thing at this point. That sound good?
Yeah, well, we probably will get into that. Because of the area, I mean, this must not have come very easily to put this project together because it's it's right in front of a industrial park. There's a lot of residential behind that, and also it's very close to the highway. So maybe you tell us a little bit about how the planning and how long this process has been in play.
So the history of this site and this development dates back to the early 2000s. As you say, it was all 125 acres of it at one time were used as an industrial park, which was developed in the early 60s. In the early 2000s, a project was conceived as a mixed-use development, and a prior development started to assemble at least a dozen or so existing properties and compiled it into the 125 acres. And that went through an approval process in the 2005, 2006, into 2007. It was a very, very large, ambitious project, about 4.5 million square feet of office, residential, retail, and while that project had all of its approvals and actually begun construction in late 2007, early 2008, it didn't survive the downturn for a variety of reasons. Certainly, not the least of which was the downturn itself. Mm-hmm. And the property sat dormant for 4+ years. The buildings had all been demolished before construction activity ceased. So it was literally almost 125 acres of vacant land. And coming out of the recession, New England Development, with a couple of partners, National Development and Eastern Real Estate, we are all local real estate development companies, acquired the property. And that happened just about 3 years ago. It would be 3 years ago this spring. So that began the permitting of a slightly different project.
So 3 companies together or came together to work this 125 plus acre development?
Correct. So when we acquired the property in 2012, there were permits from the original 4.5 million square foot project that were still in place. But the project that we had conceived was a little bit less than half the size. It was about 2 million square feet. We were still proposing the same mix of uses, just smaller components. So we were still proposing retail, residential, and office. We did feel like we had sort of as a complement to the residential component, an assisted living component, which wasn't part of the original development. But nonetheless, it was essentially the same mix of uses, just smaller and slightly reconfigured. It was over the same area. It still occupied the same 125 acres. It didn't have the same density because the project that we wanted to propose did not, it wasn't going vertical like the original project did. So we began permitting that project in the summer of 2012, and then by the spring of 2013, we had obtained the approval from the town of a master plan for this 2 million square feet, and then we were able to start construction in the summer of 2013, which is about a year and a half ago.
So this actually is almost perfect timing because now you have the economy which is starting to pick up again, and also the theme of work, live, and play is a big part of most projects going on. So I mean, this is like fits right into the whole scheme of things.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think the thing that makes this a terrific location is it's at the interchange of 95 and 93. You're 10 minutes south of the Pike on Route 128. 128 itself, as you guys probably know, is near 150,000 vehicles traveling by the site every day. A huge amenity to the development is the T and Amtrak station that abuts the property. So it really fits into a transportation-oriented type development where folks that are either working in the offices that are created or the residences that are built, or either shopping or working in the residential component, have great access into town. It's less than 15 minutes to South Station on the commuter rail from the station. So it really plays a huge part in the development. The office component really attracts, it helps to attract office users that, in this day and age now are really looking for, besides the regional access, real amenities to be able to offer to the folks that work in those buildings. So I think that's what makes it pretty unique. There aren't that many locations on the 128 corridor that offer both the regional access, including the public transportation element, with amenities.
Right out your back door. I mean, you can get to probably Rhode Island or T.F. Green Airport.
Yeah, like 25 minutes.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Just walk across the street, basically, right?
Absolutely. And then don't forget, I think that we'll see a lot of folks in the residential units that work in town, so it's real easy to access Boston, but at the same time, maybe those people are folks that frequent New York as well. So Amtrak takes you to New York and certainly beyond to D.C. if you want, but a good number of folks use that station for the New York trip. And
yeah, we were just talking about that because
we use that as well for the New York trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't beat it. So it just has an awful lot to offer. There's an office there's an office base that's there today. NSTAR has about 400,000 feet. They have a big headquarters office that abuts the project. a couple 100,000 feet adjacent to NSTAR. Our project permitted about 350,000 square feet of office, but the project has the ability to accommodate more office space there. So I think that it's going to become a real strong sort of office hub, given the retail amenities. The retail aspect of it, I don't know if you've heard much about it, but our retail component is over 500,000 feet. It's anchored by Target and Wegmans. Target opened a couple of weeks ago. Wegmans will open early in the fall, and a number of stores have opened between last week and this week, and over the next couple of weeks, the balance of the retail will open.
Now, this is an open air type of mall.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's correct. Large is a combination of both larger retail tenants that you typically find in a shopping center that has a Target and a grocery anchor like Wegmans, as well as a mix of small tenants. There's about 36 retail tenants in total. We have almost a dozen food-related type tenants, including 3 full-serve sit-down restaurants. Wegmans, in and of themselves, is a pretty special attraction. It's the third Wegmans that we've opened in a project.
It's my favorite supermarket.
Yeah, Rick's pumped. I'm not going to lie. He's
Yeah.
literally pumped that you're about 15 minutes from his house now.
Yeah, so if you guys have been in them, so you know what they're all about. They're a tremendous operator. They have a really strong following, and I think that they're going to do great in this location.
So I know that we talked, Paul, about you had a grand opening for a Target about 10 days ago, and I know some others are opening up. What is the timetable for the residential component or the assisted living component for people actually to live at that area?
So the residential component, it's being developed by essentially a joint venture between the Hanover Company and Gables.
Mm-hmm.
So Hanover is constructing it, and Gables Residential will manage it. It's 350 units. They're all rentals. They're 1 and 2 bedroom units. Mm-hmm. It's a 4-story building. There are affordable units that are available. There are almost 70 affordable units that are available in the residential component, and it's essentially a 2-building complex with a parking garage that separates the 2 buildings. And what's really neat about how the design works is the parking garage is almost completely encased by the residential building. So it really delivers a nice looking product where most of the garage is hidden and it's accessible to everybody that lives there. They're planning an opening they'll open each building separate from one another, so that it'll be a phased open. Mm-hmm. And their initial openings are expected in June, July.
Okay.
Well, the parking garage is going to be a great bonus for people now that after this past winter, if they had to get in their car after a foot of snow, they're going to love that garage.
You're going to get home early, so you're not on the roof. You're going to make sure you're in a covered space, right?
That's right.
Absolutely. No, it's a great amenity. It's a fair, it's regarded as a higher end kind of a rental product. I think the expectation is there'll be many young professionals and on one end of the age spectrum and empty nesters on the other. Mm-hmm. And again, the fact that it has such great proximity, also such great access to downtown, it's I think for those folks that want to work in town but choose not to live closer to town. So it provides a great alternative to that, where you're right on commuter rail.
Right, I see it as a desirable location. It has all these amenities, as well as you have access to so many. You're
access 20 minutes within everything. Yeah, pretty much.
Sure.
Rhode Island and
even
Boston.
the Patriot Stadium.
It's true.
Right.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to get back to the assisted living. That sort of one of the other interesting observations that we've made in talking with the office interest, that that has, that the project's been talking with over the months. There are many corporate office users that look at this site as a way of being able to attract young talent out of Boston. There's a fair amount of younger talent that choose to live in the city and choose to not own a car or prefer to not own a car. And as you know, it's not inexpensive to own a car in the city. And so the site really offers a unique ability to be able to employ people that are living in the city, but make a lifestyle choice to not own a vehicle. And it's not easy to a Waltham site, for instance, or a Burlington site. It's harder to pull that talent out of the city as compared to having the commuter rail, stop at the front door of this site. So it's interesting, kind of a thing that came out of all the conversations that we've had with some of the big corporate tenants that have looked to relocate here.
Yeah, that's something we hear quite frequently as well. A lot of companies are looking at moving to the Rhode Island or Hartford, Connecticut area because they want to try to attract some of the younger professionals, but the younger professionals look at the cost of living in New York City or Boston. It's very expensive for them.
Sure.
This brings them out of it, and this actually keeps them in the state of Mass as well.
Right, right.
I think
now the assisted living component, what's being constructed right now is a 64-unit, two-story building. It's going to be a dedicated memory care facility. So it would be for residents that are suffering from either some form of dementia, Alzheimer's, that type of a resident. So it's 100% dedicated to that kind of a resident. The operator will be a company that's based out of Waltham called Epic Senior Living. They have several, in the nearby area. Recently, they opened one in Westwood, and I want to say Westwood and Westwood and Hingham. I believe are the two most recent ones they've opened. But big demand for that type of an assisted living facility. There were 100 units approved in the master plan, and so currently this building uses 64 of those units. Back on the residential component, I had said that there's 350 apartments that are under construction right now. There were 650 apartments, or I should say 650 residences approved with a development, and right now there's no formal application in the works, but we've got real strong interest for the remaining 300 units, both as rentals or as condominium ownership type units. And Rick, going back to your comment about the timing, I think that in terms of the rental market, great timing there. I think that Gables is going to do terrific with this product. Rentals market has been incredibly strong.
Yeah,
and
I know that.
And the condo market has really picked up over the last 2 years as well.
Yeah, that was a question I was going to ask. Now, I know you said apartments and the assisted living. Do they plan on, or do you plan on, expanding it into residential, individual homes, or even condominiums, that area?
We don't. So the remaining 300 residential units that could be developed at the project, we don't see them as individual homes or even not likely to be a townhouse style kind of a configuration. The project is really conceived to have a different kind of a density. So I think that there'll either be more rentals similar to the product that's being built right now, or condominiums that are in a little bit more of a vertical kind of a configuration. I'm not going to say certainly not high rise, but low to mid rise buildings as opposed to standalone single family. It's this particular site and its design and its intent under the master plan never really contemplated residential in that form, more in a denser kind of a format.
Well, Paul, we're going to talk a little more about the project. We have to go to a break right now, but when we come back, we'll talk and we'll finish up and find out a little more how this project's been going along and some of the issues you've had along
save
the
that
way
last
with
segment,
this.
and then we'll jump.
But right now, we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Rick Kaplan and Eric Wilson, right here on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
Listen, are you living in a condo or co-op? Do you have difficulty receiving deliveries from UPS, FedEx, or your pharmacy when you're not home? Well, there's a solution. Video Doorman. It's a security system with live on-call operators for condos and co-ops that receives packages when you're out, stores them in a safe package room, and then notifies you about your delivery. They can even handle dry cleaning, pickup, and delivery. But there's more. If you come home late at night and don't feel safe, just press the Video Doorman key fob, and the Video Doorman operator will greet you by name and escort you right up to your floor. He can see you and speak to you and handle any potential problem. And Video Doorman costs only about $1 a day. Call Video Doorman at 888-697-3630 or visit videodoorman.com to receive a free building evaluation. That number again is 888-697-3630. Call now, feel safer, and never miss a delivery again.
New England Real Estate Journal Radio.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson, and we have on the phone with us is Paul Cincotta, Vice President with New England Development, and we're talking about the University Station in Westwood. It's a project that they've been working on that sounds like an unbelievable project. It's in a great location, has a lot going on, live, work, and play. You know, it's convenient to Rhode Island, convenient to Boston. And so before we went to the break, we were talking about the residential component of that, and if there's going to be any added residential to that, which doesn't sound like there is. Correct, Paul?
Well, there's 300 more units he was saying earlier, but they've planned on apartment, not townhouse style.
Right. So the 300 units that are not under construction just yet will likely be either a mid-rise condominium style unit or a mid-rise apartment style, as opposed to single-family homes.
Right. So, as someone who's a novice to the development game as myself, I have a kind of a weird question based on our last part of the interview. We were talking about how there's 3 companies that came together to put together this project. Now, do you break off and say, Eastern Real Estate, you're going to handle the residential component, and National Development, you're going to do the retail, and then I'm going to handle the restaurants? Is it broken down that way, or is it each person has an individual building project that they have that they want to bring into, and you kind of incorporate it into this master plan?
In this case, really all three partners, where we're local real estate developers, really bring sort of a different expertise to the table, but yet we really are doing it jointly. So, on a mechanical level, New England Development is managing the leasing of the retail space, and we're overseeing the permitting and construction of the development. Okay. But our partners bring strong relationships in leasing office space and financing projects like this, and relationships that relate to certain retailers that we may not have relationships with. So it's really, in this particular instance, it's very collaborative. And because I think we know each other real well, having been playing in the same circles for many, many years, it really is collaborative. There are plenty of, I think, other kinds of real estate development partnerships where one partner may take a much stronger lead than the others. Here, here I think it's a partnership that's really worked well because National Development and Eastern Real Estate have had extensive experience in many of the aspects of this development. So it's been a nice collaboration.
Nice. And my second part of that question was, how much room do you have to grow on this project, left to grow, I should say? I know that you've had the initial plan. Did you leave room to grow in, say, 10 years?
The answer is yes. So the project was approved. This master plan that was approved by the town was approved for an overall development of a couple million square feet. What's under construction right now and what will open through this year, retail now, residential starting in the summertime, the assisted living will open in the summertime, the fitness club will open in the summertime. All of that's under construction right now is about half of that 2 million square feet.
Okay.
So 1 million will be open by the end of the year, and we see the future residential, the future office buildings as filling out the balance of the 2 million.
Okay.
Now, one of the other things that are going to be part of the project is this. It's called New England Lifetime Athletics. Now, is this a sports complex or is this a health club?
It's a health club. It's a very large fitness center. So, often the fitness centers that I think that we're used to in this region, they tend to be 50,000 square feet or less. Even 50,000 is a good-sized club. Lifetime Fitness, they're a Minneapolis-based company. They build a facility that's about 125,000 square feet.
Wow.
Put that in perspective, it's the same amount of space that's in a Home Depot or in a Target and so it's a very large club. They have a huge offering of fitness alternatives. They have a couple of pools inside. They have a very large outside pool, and really their whole thing is they cater to families. So they have activities that range from keeping parents satisfied in fitness, from all of the spin, yoga, and all those kinds of classes, individual training kinds of things, all the way down through to programs for kids. And so the reason why I think they're going to do terrific in this location is that families will really flock to this kind of a place. It's kind of a great one stop for the whole family, where there's something for everybody in the family.
Now, I heard that there was a facility that was going to open up that had like a baseball fields out there and an ice skating rink. Is that part of that, or is that something that just that was rumors?
That was rumors. This is not that. So their setup is, like I said, they have a large building. This happens to be a 3-story building, and outside the building they have a very large pool deck with a big pool that's really, really popular, obviously, in the summertime. All kinds of swimming activities and swimming camps for kids. Inside, they have a couple different pools, one dedicated to lap swimming and that kind of thing. So it's the traditional fitness stuff, basketball, and water sports, and fitness-related stuff. What this club doesn't offer are the racket sports. So
there it goes.
Location.
Well, they'll probably get my membership, but not Rick, since I play basketball and he plays racquetball. But I have a question, kind of maybe a little bit out of the blue, off topic. Any kind of landscape features and something after you build something like this? Is it more than one company that comes in and professionally landscapes?
Like a park type of thing?
Yeah,
sure.
Because it is a walkable retail center. I'm assuming that there'll be some kind of landscape amenities.
The plan, absolutely. The plan was there was a real heavy emphasis with the town on having a walkable, pedestrian, and bike-friendly environment. So there's about 15 acres that are dedicated to open space. There's 2 different park areas that are dedicated as open spaces, all walkways, green areas planted to the hilt. There's a nice outdoor plaza area. that is within the retail center that provides outdoor seating for dining and that kind of thing, which is a third kind of an open space. The main road that services this development is University Ave, which is the exit that's off of 128. And University Ave was reconstructed as part of the project, and
that was my next question. The infrastructure.
University Ave was doubled in its width. It's got bike paths now that weren't there before. A very large landscaped median down the middle of it, so that the project has property on both sides of University Ave, and so the connectivity between the whole development was really a big emphasis that was put on the design. So those improvements were extensive. In addition to widening all of University Ave, which is about a mile in length, there's a new off-ramp that the state is constructing from 128 to University Ave, which is an important element of building traffic infrastructure for the project. There's an intersection at the far end of University Ave that kind of bookends the other 1 mile that the project constructed. That intersection was rebuilt with some money both from the state and from the project. We're making improvements to about a dozen intersections scattered throughout a few towns, Westwood, Norwood, Canton, to address some of the traffic, related issues that come from the development itself. So there was a pretty extensive amount of infrastructure improvements that came as a result of the project, and then locally there was some mitigation contributions made to the town to deal with everything from municipal impacts relating to police, fire, added DPW costs in that, to added costs that affect the school system as a result of the residential and kids that will come out of the new residential units. So a broad range of mitigation that was brought to the table to address all that stuff.
A lot of beneficial things for the surrounding areas.
Sure.
So now we know there's the residential component to this and the health club component, and we know that the Wegmans and Target and Neiman Marcus, correct?
Nordstrom Rack, I think, is the one that you're thinking of.
Nordstrom Rack.
Yep.
I never heard of them, but
It's Nordstrom.
yeah, Nordstrom. Okay.
But
So what are some of the other
tenants,
retail tenants that will be leasing there?
Marshalls and Home Goods opened late last week, and I'll tell you, they had just a terrific opening. So they're two of our junior anchors that people were real excited about. Other junior anchors, they fit into that category of junior anchors where they're a fairly large-sized tenant, but not the Target and Wegmans. We have Sports Authority, PetSmart, and Michaels. We had mentioned Nordstrom Rack. Those are a number of the bigger tenants, and then we have. I had mentioned, I think earlier, that we have about a dozen food users, and we have a couple of really neat food opportunities that are somewhat new to the area. One is a smash burger. I think there's only one fairly, within this, at least this part of Massachusetts. So we have a smash burger coming. There's an Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza, which is a restaurant chain that's based out of Florida. Has a great following. People are really excited about that. A couple sit-down restaurants. Bonefish Grill is one of them. Not Your Average Joe's is another restaurant. And then a number of other smaller food users. Panera, sandwich places, yogurt places, that kind of stuff.
That's funny, Paul. I was actually looking at Smashburger when I was looking at this list earlier this morning. I was like, I've never heard of Smashburger, but I'm already into it because it has burger.
Yep.
The second thing, what is Charming Charlie? I saw that as one of the names too, and I wanted to know what was
Charming Charlie's is a woman's accessories kind of a store.
It's a what?
A woman's accessory.
Oh, it's women accessories. Okay.
Eric was going to bring a
I
sandwich.
was just
and
wondering
sit
what
there.
that name was. I didn't know if it was a
Yeah.
salmon shop, or something like that. But that's good to know.
I guess it is.
I will
All
be
of your
frequenting that
weekend
after I
costume-
have my burger, I guess.
Yeah, all of your weekend costume jewelry needs can be
Nice.
fulfilled at Charming Charlie's.
Well, it's good for us to know because we're always thinking of places to go to lunch. We go right by there.
We
On
do.
our back to
Right
the
after we
office.
leave the show, after we're done taping, we drive right by there. A second question before we go is there any, and how would this actually work? Is there any solar roofs, or is the people, when you build these office buildings, does somebody buy that building and then they have the opportunity, if they want to add solar, like rent out their roof for that, or are there any type of
Lead.
energy,
Yeah.
energy efficiencies, maybe some
So
of the
the-
stoplights
the-
or something like that?
The project, there are a number of lead aspects that were worked into the construction of the buildings that are being built right now.
Okay.
There, often the case is that it's up to the tenants to strike deals with us, a provider for someone that would lease space on the roof for solar panels. So, so right now there's no immediate plans, although accommodations were made on some of the roofs to be able to accommodate solar panels. And in the office setting, the office kinds of deals can go a couple different ways. Sometimes they're built by the landlord and then leased by the tenant, and other times they're built by the landlord and then ultimately acquired by the tenant. But I think in most instances, the solar kind of stuff these days tends to be on a lease basis with a solar provider, and they lease your roof, and then you lock in a discounted electric price.
Right.
Paul, we're running out of
Yep,
time.
we're almost getting there.
But one of the things that I want to about how many retailers will be in this whole development?
We've got about 3 dozen tenants on the retail side. There are about 3 dozen tenants in total, and that spans about 500,000 square feet.
Okay. And if someone is interested and they want to lease a space, is there a space available still?
There's a handful, maybe 3. When I say a handful, 3 or 4 small spaces at a very small size. So fortunately, we're almost 100% leased, but there's still opportunities, and the University Station website. Embarrassed to say I don't have the precise address right in front of me.
Luckily, Paul, we have this thing called the Google machine, so we can just tell
Right,
people
so-
type in University Station, Westwood, Mass, and Google, and hopefully that project. will
And
come up.
you will get there in a heartbeat.
But I know you also are on Facebook and Twitter. In case I know some of our listeners, they may not be inclined to look into leasing, but they also may want to just go there and
See what's going on
Yeah,
there.
take a nice little walk through and check out some of these restaurants. How would they find out about what's already open, what might open on Facebook and Twitter?
And again, the University Station website has direct links to all of that.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show,
thanks
Paul.
so much, Paul.
It sounds like a great project.
I can't wait to stop by and grab a smash burger.
We're real excited about it, guys. Thank you for the opportunity.
And maybe when it's complete, we'll come down there. We'll do our show right from that location.
Charmin' Charlie's.
That's right.
you come down, and the burgers will be on us.
Oh,
now we're
definitely there, Paul. You
Let-
sold us.
Let's schedule that right now.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have
you,
a great
Paul.
week.
That was Paul.
Rick, Eric, thank you.
Thank you, Paul. That was Paul Cincotta, Vice President with New England Development, and they're working with University Station in the Westwood, Mass area. And we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Rick Kaplan is right here on the Money
still
Matters
there?
Radio Network.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson, and we just had a great interview with Paul Cincotta he's the Vice President with New England Development, talking about their University Station in the Westwood, Mass area. And it sounds like it's an unbelievable project that you're right next to the train, you got residential, it's a park setting, you know, the whole
I mean,
works.
all that stuff is awesome and it's great. And the funny thing is, it has something for everybody. You know,
Yeah.
me, obviously, Smash Burger. Everybody else has a different reason
Yeah.
to want to go check these places out. But, yeah.
And me, the health club.
Right, of course. Without the racquetball, which is surprising.
That's right.
Because you're always complaining that they're taking down all these racquetball clubs.
Yeah, isn't
People,
that funny? They got
get
all
your
that.
kids into racquetball so Rick has competition going in 10 years.
Yeah, but look at that's a big health club. You'd think they'd put
125,000 square
racquetball
feet.
courts in there.
You know, it's a dying game, you know. But
Yeah, well,
it is what it is.
I
But,
guess I'd be more geared to the assisted
I'm
living
gonna
now.
be honest with you, though. I'm really going to be interested in looking at what those apartments rent for. Because I would be inclined to move there because it's perfect location for my disc
It's
golf
an
activities.
yeah,
on
but
weekends.
it's
like dead center. I'm literally 20 minutes from Borderland.
Right, it's an
State Park.
ideal location.
Yeah.
Without a question.
You're right up to Route 90 to jump over to Worcester. You're probably 35, 40 minutes.
5
from
minutes to get to any which way
Yeah.
on the highway.
It's crazy. It would be. I'm definitely going to look into.
And then you
when-
just cross the street and you're on the Amtrak if you wanted to go.
Yeah,
in.
right.
So I mean, it is.
Come on, Rick. You and I, we're famous. We don't take public transportation. We just call our driver Corey to come pick us up
Yeah.
in his Chevy Tahoe limousine.
Yeah. Well, what about the times we went on the T into Boston?
Those are great times.
You've given some of those people some great entertainment, Eric. Let me tell you.
I'll be honest with you. Most people that meet me on the train after 10 o'clock at night, they definitely have stories to share.
I'm sure. I know.
Yeah.
I know. I have stories I could share. But you know what?
Speaking of stories,
That's
we
what
have
I
to
was
share.
just going to say that. Now
Yeah.
talk about the.
So last week, Iram had a spot check, or I guess like a quick networking event they put together. They invited a hypnotist in, and me being me, I was like, I don't think there's a chance I can be hypnotized. I have ADD, and for those who don't know, now you know. And that's not to say that people with that can't be. It's just that it's hard to stay focused, and hypnotization is really on steady focus. But lo and behold, he does his little thing. He's got 5 volunteers, and then he does this thing for the crowd, and boom, I'm out. I'm hypnotized, and in the crowd. So then he calls me up, brings me up, and they had me speak in. I couldn't say the number 4 for a while. I was using the word booger instead, and the whole time I could hear myself say it, and I kept thinking that it was kind of a bizarre feeling. For anyone who's been hypnotized, it was almost dream state, but you're almost catatonic into the sense of you can still speak, but you can't move. Your whole body just can't move. It's as if someone was grabbing you and moving you, and then when you're moving forward, everything's kind of coming towards you. It was kind of a bizarre feeling, but really, really interesting. For a business event, I was hoping that he wasn't. At least he didn't ask for all my.
Well,
trade
yeah,
secrets.
but I have noticed since you have gone through that hypnotizing process, every time someone says, "How are you today?" you cluck like a chicken.
Yeah, right. It was funny. That was like one of his things that he said before we went up there. He wasn't going to make us cluck like a chicken or things like that, but he did do a lot of weird manipulation with your body, where you put your arm out and he'd ask you to bend it, but after you had snapped you out, and you just couldn't bend it, and you didn't understand why. It was a couple times. We couldn't see. I couldn't see him, but I could see a chair moving around, and it assumed the whole time that.
Does he have the medallion on a chain that he swings in front of you? To
No,
put you to
that
sleep?
was that's the funny. That was my inclinations going in. He was going to be using these type of methods, and I'm going, yeah. With my ADD, I'm going to see a squirrel and be like, "What? I have no idea what happened here." You can't throw something that's on my face, and I'm going to focus on that.
So
But-
now he did this in front of all these Iron property management
right.
companies.
So if they
So now
didn't
all of
know
them.
me well enough before, they probably know me a lot more now.
Yes.
But it was
So-
a lot of fun. There was a couple
So
of us.
now who did that? The companies that are hiring the property managements, they put on the hypnotists.
No, it was actually a property management. It was suggested by Candace Morris out of Thayer and Associates. I guess she had this gentleman who does this hypnotist stuff or hypnotizing. He was brought in, and he was like a last minute thing because they didn't have a speaker, and they wanted to. I'm sure if they had the opportunity to tell more people about the hypnotist with months out, it would have been a huge event.
Well, I just figured, you get someone that owns property, and
Yeah.
you're in front of all these property management companies.
Yeah, you
You
hypnotize.
hypnotize them all, lower my rates.
You know, it was funny. So he was asking me, he's like, we bring it up. And then also, shout out to Bill Butts from ND Landscape. He also was one of the two that was, like they call it, level 6 hypnotist. And we're both suffer from the same things, ADD, and very outgoing basketball players. I also think it had a lot to do with I tend to get a massage every month because I'm such a athlete. But no, and that music that they play at my massage was the same music he played, so it put me right into a relaxed trance immediately, probably through the audio, But it was very eye-opening for someone at 35. Well, now 36 since my birthday was this
That's
Monday.
right. And now that's what we also want to talk about.
Yeah.
Eric's birthday, March 16th. Happy birthday, Eric.
Thank you.
My birthday, March 17th.
Happy birthday, Rick.
And and people say, oh, that's got to be a great day to have a birthday. And you know what? It is a great day to have a birthday.
It is, because everyone's always in a good mood that day.
Yeah, but it's just a party all day long.
It is.
Ever since I was, at the time when I turned 18 years old, and then you could drink.
Well, yeah, back in the 60s, 70s, 72? Well, how old are you? 59? I'm just throwing years on. I'm just trying to keep you ladies
Keep
guessing.
me young. Yeah, keep me young. No, but I mean, it's been a party, and this year with the parade, because everyone thought that the parade wasn't going to happen because of the snow.
Yeah.
That turned out to be a good parade this year.
It's funny. I've only done the parade once in Southie. I thought it was really cool. Want to know something funny, though? The one in Savannah, Georgia, I thought was better, which is weird, too, because it was in the middle of Georgia, and I didn't even know they had a huge St. Patty's Day parade.
But don't they have one in Scituate, too?
They do. Scituate's got moved back to sometime, I believe, in August.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I think it's actually in April.
That's right. There's no problem to celebrate St. Patty's more than once a year.
I agree. That would help out a lot of the gingers. But yeah, I think they moved it back to, I believe it's April 11th in Scituate because of the snow. They didn't have a chance to do it. But yeah, that was a great time, and I'm excited. We have a great week, and then we have tomorrow, which would be Thursday for our listeners of the previous Thursday. We're touring Anheuser-Busch with Iram.
That's right.
As part of their back-to-back March events. That's a great tour I went to last year. I'm looking forward to that as well.
Nothing better to tour Anheuser-Busch after St. Patty's Day.
Exactly, right? I mean,
I want to support.
2 birthdays?
I want to
How
support.
much drinking are we going to do this week, Rick?
Yeah, I'd like to support the people that supported me on my birthday.
Exactly.
But Corey's giving me the signal we're running out of time. But you know what I want to also mention again?
Yeah, check us out at all of our events coming up.
That's
Replay the front of this show to find out the times and
NEREJ
dates.
Cocktails and Conversation and Expo.
Yeah.
At April 23rd.
That was the 29th.
No, April 23rd.
It's the 23rd, so don't listen to the first segment because he does say
Did I
April
say the
29th. Yeah. It's all right. April 23rd, everyone. April 23rd.
April 23rd. Yeah. April 23rd.
See everyone there.
And that's at the Portsmouth Events. It's behind the Residence Inn.
Yep.
And that is one of our sponsors, Procon. I will be as a silver sponsor in the city of Rochester, Connecticut. I'm sorry, Rochester, New Hampshire. Yeah, I'm all mixed up at the end of the show.
It's because we were talking about, we've been celebrating all week, so it's
That's
bound
right.
to happen after an hour.
Now that assisted living place is starting to sound more and more likely.
You'll be checking out that. I'll be checking out the Residential Inn.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't forget, we did find out the Facebook and Twitter handle. It's at University STN if you want to follow along and find out more information of that. Thanks again, Paul.
And I think this deal is done.